This is the Propaganda Report. I am Brad Binkley. We have a great show for you today. Petri dish of brain cells plays Doom, the terrorist therapist, and lies about the military draft are going around social media and every mainstream outlet. We're going to clear things up for you guys. Let's start with a subject that, a futuristic subject that I was ahead of by months. I talked about this months ago. A company that I've been reporting on them and others are just now paying attention to, and that company is Cortical Labs, which is a company that I told you guys a while back had created what has been described as they describe it, and the news outlets described it. I haven't verified it myself, but that's what they're saying. Is the world's first biological computer. One that they taught how to play the video game Pong. And they did this by merging brain cells, which they obtained from stem cells, to a computer chip, and then using their weird science to program those cells to play the game. I don't know if it was very good at Pong, but nevertheless, it was a tedious process. It took them years. And that's too long to teach brain cells in a Petri dish to play Pong. So they've improved, and this is what's getting the attention, is they have now taught neuro-powered computer chips, as they describe it, which is our brain cells on the Petri dish, to play, am I saying dish, to say Doom. And they're not very good at playing Doom. But they're good enough to learn and improve Doom. So I see something like this, and as someone I'm good at sports video games. I don't play a lot of first-person shooters because I end up walking into a corner, and I don't know the controls, and I'm pushing buttons, and all I'm doing is switching my guns while walking in a circle in a corner, and then getting my head blown out by some dude who's been in his basement for 10 years, mastering the game, mocking me through the headset. Okay, so I see this Petri dish of brain cells connected to a computer chip playing Doom, and I'm like, that's not so bad. Maybe it's practiced more than me. I don't know. Gamers will be like, oh, it sucks. Well, what else are they going to be able to train this thing on? Maybe they'll train it on social skills, and you will realize, gamers, that at the base level, maybe it doesn't suck for you. Maybe it's better than you. If we can give credit or believe what their claims are, and we'll talk about this continuing. So the way they've done all this, to back it up a little bit, is they've taken stem cells. I don't know from where. Who knows from where? And they've, as I said, merged them to this future computer technology, and they've programmed them using programming language like Python to teach them to play the video games. So I'll hold that off because they're doing an open call for programmers to create. I mean, it's crazy, actually. It's crazy that how little attention the story gets, and the attention that it does get, the angle doesn't really see what's there. It's all the fun, crazy, oh, it played Doom, but it doesn't really see the progression of what this company's doing and what their call to action is, because there's a definitive call to action. And I'm going to show you from their mouths. It took them years to create these this is like a new version of the brain-computer interfaces. Most people, when they hear brain-computer interface, they think chips in the brains of humans. What this is, as I said, stem cell matter, brain matter, from who knows where, merged with a computer chip and then trained by Python, as I said. It took them years to do this with Pong. These stupid brain cells couldn't get Pong right for years. They finally mastered it. Now, the scientists, after extracting what they learned from that experiment, have applied it to the Doom experiment, and they have been able to teach these brain cells, computer chip brain cells, to play Doom in a week. Years it took them for Pong, a week it took them for Doom. And then there's a call to action, which they wrap the whole story up with. Let me let you hear it from their mouth yourself. When I say there, I don't mean they, them. I just mean multiple people in a singular video. Here's one of these nerds explaining this little experiment.
So we showed that biological neurons could play the game Pong. This was a massive milestone because it demonstrated adaptive, real-time, goal-directed learning. But it took us over 18 months with our original hardware and software to get this to work. And Pong was much simpler. There was a direct relationship. The ball went up, the paddle went up. It was a direct input-output relationship. Doom was much more complex. Doom is chaos. It's 3D, it has enemies, it needs to explore its environment, and it's hard. So we've built a neurocomputing system to allow anyone to program this game.
To bridge that gap, we needed to translate the digital world of Doom into the biological language of neurons, which is electricity.
We built the CL API so that any user can interact with cells living in the CL1 with simple Python commands. Using the API, Sean managed to map the video feed from the game into patterns of electrical stimulation. When a demon appears on the left of the screen, specific electrodes stimulate the sensory area of the neural culture on the left side. The neurons react to that stimulation. We then listen to their response, the spikes, and interpret that activity as motor commands.
I don't know exactly what all that means. I mean, I get it from an intellectual level. It's weird, isn't it? It's a lot of power to give to our computer programming nerd friends, I think. Because these guys who develop this stuff, according to the story and Cortical Labs website themselves, they didn't have any experience with biology, neuroscience, brain matter. They're programmers. And they understood the electricity, the transfer of electricity, and how it relates to biology. And you'll see what they're actually doing now, which might be the scariest part of this, is they're simplifying everything. for people, for everyone who can program.
Robotica Labs cloud platform.
So, can the cells learn to play Doom? Yes. They're receiving information, they're sending commands to move their character around, they're able to find enemies, shoot. Is it an esports champion? Absolutely not. Right now, the cells play a lot like a beginner who's never seen a computer. And in all fairness, they haven't. But they show evidence that they can seek out enemies, they can shoot, they can spin, and while they die a lot, they are learning. But just like a human or an animal learning a task, the cells need feedback. They need to know what the right actions are and what the wrong actions are, and how they can be trained to improve. While there's still a lot of work left to do on this, the exciting thing is we've solved the interface problem. We have a way to interact with these cells in real time and train them and shape their behavior to do things even like Doom. So the interface is solved. Next, we need better learning, better encoding, better rewards, better feedback.
So that's the angle that the news and people in the alternative media are not focusing on. Is this is not, it's less of a brag about what we could teach these brain cells to do, what game we could teach them to play. It was more of a, we've progressed from, it took us years to teach it to play an old Atari game to a week or so to teach these cells to play Doom. And we need feedback from other programmers. We've created an interface that will enable all programmers. They don't need to know anything about biology or neuroscience. We've taken care of that problem, and we set it up for all of you who are computer nerd wizards to come in and work your magic. If you have creative ways that we haven't thought about to program these things, and expedite the process of making these types of games or brain cells playing these games smarter and smarter, and their goal, which they put at the end of this video, let me show you, because this is the purpose of the goal. This story, people don't realize, it's actually a marketing and call to action for, you see that right there? Okay. For the development of this technology. It says on screen, can you help neurons beat Doom? And then it says where to sign up, and it gives you the website. It's interesting. It's what are you going to do with that? But it's crowdsourcing is so, it's utilized in so many different avenues right now. We crowdsourced investigations. I do that with air quotes, like Candace Owens. Crowdsourcing the funding of a film project. And now we have the crowdsourcing of the development of technology that is far, far scarier than any AI put out by ChatGPT and OpenAI that is super quick at coming up with a haiku. Like, this is the AI, and this isn't even really AI. It's like loosely based AI. This is far scarier than all that OpenAI bullshit everybody talks about. It's going to take people's jobs. Have you seen the movie? All the stuff where it talks about, look at the OpenAI movie it created. Look at the actress who's been signed by an agency who's doing such great work. All of that is bullshit. It's advertising. You look at that stuff and you're like, this is terrible. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. And then you realize it's just a bunch of companies promoting what they're doing using, it's called newsjacking is what this is called. This is an actual thing that's being exploited, but more so than I've ever seen in my life, to make it seem like there is a fear of something for the purpose of promoting something else. And then you have all these investments that have gone on in AI with these companies, some of them because they're stupid, some of them because they like weird AI images and music, making people scared so that their investments can be profitable and they can either get out of the market or keep pumping the market up before it crashes. This is the actual scary stuff. Taking stem cell brain matter, integrating it with a computer chip, and then teaching it how to play video games that half of us are terrible at, Think about that. How long does it take an individual to play Doom? This I don't even know what to call this computer chip merged brain matter. Like, let's give it a name. Like maybe it's Jerry, the computer chip. Let's give it a name because it should have a name. If it can beat some people, some humans at a video game, it should at least have a name. So Jerry, the computer chip infused brain matter, infused with brain matter, can learn how to not be the worst at Doom. I mean, it's not good, but it's not the worst. There's definitely human beings who've been alive and played Doom who are worse than this computer chip is at Doom. In a week. How long does, if anybody took a week off to play Doom, they'd probably get better at it. But computer chips infused with brain matter don't have a job. They don't have responsibilities. They don't have things to take care of. So what other ways can this be applied? This is what's not being focused on. And they're calling to action these nerd programmers. I'm not trying to, I wish I knew how to program. But remember the whole phase of learn to code, bro? Well, maybe that's a really good idea, actually. Because they have set up a system where you can learn to code brain matter. And if you reach that point that you're creating, let me show you what this company does. Nobody shows you what this company does when they're talking about this story. I've been telling you guys about this company for 6 months now. This company, hold on. I don't know where my mouse USB is, so I'm having to use my computer mouse, so I'm a little slower to the draw. Not that one, it's the wrong one. This one. So, this is Cortical Labs' website. At the top, they have, we watch our announcement of the Doom running. The whole thing we just talked about. Sources available at GitHub. I mean, this is all partially marketing. And I'm not sure how much I believe about all of this. Any of this stuff I take kind of with a grain of salt. Although there's more evidence to what they're putting out there than any news story we ever hear. They have published papers and stuff you can read. You got to learn the language of biology and computer programming to understand them, but all right. Their website says artificial has a line through it for those just listening. Actual intelligence, think beyond. Join the new era of computing and deploy your technology directly to real neurons locally on the C1 or distributed or cortical cloud. Introducing C1. And this is what I was talking about months ago. The world's first deployable biological computer. Test how lab-grown neurons process information and learn. Do you want your code bros, dude at home in his basement coding all the time, to be able to program brain matter that can play a video game better than you? I don't know that that's what we want. Cortical Cloud, a biological computing platform to build a breakthrough technology without the need for our specialized lab. You can do it right at home. We combine lab-grown neurons with silicon chips and made it available to anyone for the first time ever. Any of us could get in on this. We could help program our own demise. This is the stuff that you can lose control of. Not the haiku making AI from ChatGPT that still can't make pictures that don't look weird, okay? And here's another description. I belabor this. The reason I'm going to belabor this is because I've been talking about this for 6 months. I brought this up 6 months ago. And it was under the radar, and now it's in the news, and people still aren't focusing on the right aspects of it, in my opinion. It's a sensational where people's attention go. But they say that our technology merges biology with traditional computing to create the ultimate learning machine. Create what others only imagined. Perhaps this brain chip imagined it. The world's first code-deployable biological computer. Real neurons are grown directly on our custom chips. That's like the weirdest sentence you've ever heard in your life. Real neurons are grown on our custom chips, creating an intelligence that learns intuitively with remarkable efficiency. Unlike traditional AI, our neural systems require minimal energy and training data, to master complex tasks. This isn't just a new computer. It's computing reimagined. I would say it's humanity reimagined. I would use a different. Actual neurons on a silicon chip. Yeah, the Pong thing. So check this out in their research. This was the most interesting. If you want to check this site out to see what they're kind of really testing out, then go to their research tab. Click on their little 3 lines in the right top corner. Click on research and go look at what they've been researching to come to these conclusions to be able to develop this technology. Like one here, a real-time closed-loop interaction with biological neural networks. There's a couple that I wanted to point out. No, I mean, these are all interesting, and I've read some of these, and they're crazy. They're actually really crazy. Why AI progress will necessitate harnessing synthetic biology to leverage the ground truth of intelligence. I mean, these are not simplistic headlines like we see in the news. But the people working on this shit are going to have a more impact on what the future of our reality is and any of that bullshit is. 2 roads diverge, pathways towards harnessing intelligence in neural cell cultures. I mean, that one's also, they're all interesting. I'm trying to find the ones I want that are really, the simulated reality. Okay, this one. In vitro neurons learn and exhibit sentience when embodied in a simulated game world. Think about that. This is a study that led to the creation of this technology we're talking about with stem cell brain matter infused with a computer chip to be better at Doom than a lot of your friends. I'll beat the shit out of that thing in Doom. This study is titled, In Vitro Neurons Learn and Exhibit Sentience When Embodied in a Simulated Game World. And so, think about that sentence. Are we in vitro neurons who are sentient? Are we in a simulated game world? I mean, that's the question that comes to my mind. You take this so far, and then you blend reality to the point of where the question is, are we the simulation? It's a valid question. It's one that you can't answer, because if you ever actually answered that question, if you got close enough to the truth about that, and you could reveal that we were part of an experiment like this, then they would turn it off, whoever's running it. Or maybe they'd find out what happened once we realized it in the society. Actually, that would probably be a good experiment. You know, what happens when in vitro neurons who are sentient, learn that they are in a simulated game world? What happens within that society? Does it collapse in on itself? Do they continue to operate as is? I mean, that's a study, if I were them, that I would do. A few more. Harnessing intelligence from brain cells in vitro. That's one more one for you guys to see. Biological neurons compete with deep reinforcement learning and sample efficiency in a simulated game world. All of this stuff about a simulated game world and brain cells on a computer chip And all everybody wants to say is like, look at the brain matter on a Petri dish that played Doom. How about the real shit behind it? And how about stop sucking off AI's dick? Because this is the real shit. Neurodink for full neuro mesh network. Your scientist says El Hombre were so preoccupied with whether they could that they didn't think that they should. Yeah, that's a Jurassic Park quote. That's a great Jurassic Park quote. By the way, they should have stopped making Jurassic Park after like the first one, I think. What's the link you sent me here, Ryan? Let me check that out. I thought I could pull that up on screen. So Ryan says, dive into organic computers if you haven't. Besides this article. Okay. No, I haven't actually. I will do that. Yeah, thank you. I will definitely check those links out that you sent. I appreciate that. It's wild though, because this is like an Art Bell like story. But it doesn't, there's not a big marketing push around this, or maybe there will be, but there's not right now like there is around OpenAI, around all these other companies. And this is just like the fun, weird story that you hear late at night, which you're hearing late at night right now. It's so weird. The agenda setting theory of the media, where the media determines what people think about, what people care about, and what their emotion is towards it. That's a long-studied theory of media and why it's so powerful for those who can control narratives and control the information that we receive. I mean, this to me is, I'd be far more terrified of something like this if I truly believed it was rapidly advancing, which I don't actually. I think some of this is a little bit of hyperbole. But if I did, it'd be far scarier to me than a nuclear weapon that any country had, which I'm also not scared of at all. And I'm just, you cry wolf so many times, but this, I mean, this, if it were truly like, so what I would need to do to feel afraid of this, I think, is I would need to do a side-by-side challenge. See if you can do better than the brain matter in a Petri dish. And if I couldn't, then I'd be like, shit. That's going to take my job. I can't beat it in Doom, like not even new Doom, like old Doom, like bullshit Doom. You know, the next one's going to be, see if you can do better than at podcasting. You know, it creates like a podcast. It isn't great, but it handles the tech better. There's no glitches. The audio is great. I'm like, shit. It's going to take my job. I mean, that's how I would sell it to people if I were this company. Side-by-side comparisons. Find the people who are worst at certain tasks, like gaming, and see if the human can beat the brain matter, the stem cell brain matter. Where did the stem cell brain matter come from is the question. And then we go all the way back to, what is life? Because so this guy, speaking of that, listen to what the guy said. One of these dudes in that video. He said this. The guy we just watched, I don't remember what his name is. I didn't write it down. Nerdy guy. He said, it's not useful to compare these brain chips with human brains. He says, yes, it's alive. And yes, it's biological. But really, what is being used as this is a material that can process information in very special ways that we can't recreate it through, plastic. And they use the same type of plastic they use in fake breast, which that's I mean, come on. Now you got to worry about some woman's fake breast having the level of sentience to beat you in Doom. This is too much. I like your breast, but can they beat me in Doom? Then he says, Doom is vastly more complex than earlier demonstrations, talking about the Pong game, and successfully at interacting with its highlight reel, it really advances in how living neural systems can be controlled and trained. I'm going to say that again. This is Andrew Adamatsky of the University of West England in Bristol. Doom is vastly more complex than earlier demonstrations and successfully interacting with its highlights reel. This is the quote. I know it's weird, but this is a quote. Successfully interacting with its highlights reel advances in how living neural systems can be controlled and trained. Aren't we a complex living system? Have you ever seen that image of the universe and the brain side by side? Where the universe looks exactly like a modeling image of the brain? He goes on to say, what's exciting here is not just a biological system can play Doom, but that it can cope with complexity, uncertainty, and real-time decision-making. Humanity right now is facing a crisis of being able to do just that because of our addiction to every screen that's put in front of us, it's in our pocket at every moment, that every app, every ding, every dong, whatever. It's hard to find a human that can handle complex decision-making in this day and age. And yet here we are talking about the excitement of this biological system that can do what many humans at this point never could, but in the past could do very well. But the society that has been created, the technological society, has slowly eliminated that ability to handle these complex dynamic situations that this computer technology is having to learn how to do. He then says, this ability to cope with complex uncertainty in real time. Seriously, do you know anybody who can do that? Like, you do. Some people listen to this show can, but most of your relatives probably cannot. Let's be honest. They say that that's much closer to the kinds of challenges future biological or hybrid computers will need to handle. And then he talks about the real-world applications to something like this, such as controlling a robotic arm with biological computers. So a robot, it's like RoboCop, but there's not a human inside. There's a biological computer controlling it, I guess. So this is the bridge between sentience that links AI to this. The whole thing with AI is that it is obviously not human. It can get all the large language off of the internet. It can scrape all that and sound like a retard, like uncanny valley. But there's always something a little bit off, you know. This here, you connect this with all that other AI bullshit. And I presume that this is where they're going with this. Because that's the link that's missing with AI, is that biological sentience. Because it's obviously not there. So a couple things can happen. Either the upcoming generation, which they're not, some of them are very bright and they actually oppose all of this. But many of them are they're very naive. They are reliant on this type of stuff. They don't read at all. They will believe anything told to them through a certain emotion that appeals to their confirmation bias. And the more that happens, then the more something like this will become the intelligence of the future. Have you ever known a younger person to get pulled over by a police officer for the first time and they flip out? Seriously, like probably people in your life that you know. I've gotten phone calls from friends of mine who had never been pulled over before, and it totally broke them. And that's a situation of uncertainty. It requires real-time decision making. And they didn't have a biological computer with them to help them through it. And then, as I said, the guy says, unlike the Pong work we did, which took years, and that represented painstaking effort, this demonstration has been done in a matter of days by someone who previously had relatively little expertise working directly with biology. It's this accessible and this flexible that it makes it truly exciting. So I think this is marketing. I think it's bullshit. I'm calling it. I think there's going to be a story, maybe a year and a half, where they lied about the results. Don't defame. No defamation lawsuit here. This is speculation because I've seen this type of thing happen. Happened with AI, ChatGPT, and all that. Actually, many companies have been sued for this. I'd be willing to bet that there's a lot of exaggeration going on with the claims being made here. But they do want people to come in and, fill those gaps for them. And they're calling people to come help them beat Doom. Nevertheless,